Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing while we mention those who have passed since our last meeting. Brian Christopher Rose. Gianna Rose Harris. Virginia Rodriguez. Roll call.
Here.
Joe.
Here.
Here. The four board members, one absent, Mr. Brown. Fire exits are directly behind me here. Go down the fire escape if there's a problem in the building. For the fire. Attorney concerns? None. Not 587, so we can do petitioners if you want for a few minutes, but then we have a public hearing. And then we can go to the petitioners after that. Do the first resolution. It's the continuation of the public hearing. Oh, no, resolution. Wawarsing Town Board by resolution accepts bids for the flight school's office and training space project at Joseph Y. Resnick Airport and awards the bid to Rock Mountain Farms, Inc. in the amount of $297,045. Further be it resolved that the town board authorizes the supervisor to execute the agreement between the town of Wawarsing and Rock Mountain Farms, Inc.
Make the motion. I'll second.
Joe makes a motion, Johnny seconds, is a roll call vote. Mike?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's with one absent. You can go to no budget modifications, correct? Board to number 2, town board to approve bills as audited. We have 2 signatures, Joe, myself, and John.
Yep.
So I have a motion.
Motion.
John makes a motion, Joe seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion's carried. Town board to approve the assessor report, the building department report, the court report, justice court report, the highway department report, the town clerk's report for June 2024, a maintenance report.
No bill control.
And no, number 9 and 10, we have none at this particular time.
I'll move 3 through 8.
Second, so Mike makes the motion for 3 through 8, Johnny seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to authorize the supervisor to execute the financial advisory services agreement between the town of Wawarsing and Fiscal Advisors and Marketing Inc. for the services related to the issuance of bond revenue tax anticipation. So moved.
Second.
Makes that motion and Mike seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion is carried, so we stopped at 11, we're gonna continue at 12, then 10, and at now 12:05, so we're gonna,
2.
what's that? I see some.
That's
702. Yes.
So it's that clock's right?
Yeah, 702.
All right, we have no more minutes.
Yep.
All right, so we'll go to number 12, town board to approve the release of the building permit in the amount of $125 for Whitetail and Smallies LLC due to the withdrawal of the project. This is per the recommendation of building department in a letter dated July 3rd.
So move.
Mike makes that motion. Joe seconds it, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to approve the release of a bond reduction in the amount of $21,725 to South Hill owner LLC. This is per the recommendation of the planning board in a letter dated July 16th, 2024.
So move. Second.
Mike makes a motion, Joe seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to approve invoice 2024-3482 in the amount of $1,840 to Advanced Testing Inc. for the new highway garage and rehabilitation project.
So move.
Mike makes the motion.
Second.
Don seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to approve payment app number 13 in the amount of $381,444.95 to Darling Associates, Inc. for the highway garage and rehabilitation project, general construction.
So moved. Seconded.
Mike makes the motion, Joe seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
That motion's carried. Okay, it's 7:05 maybe?
Four.
Now, let's vote.
I can do another one.
Number 16, town board to approve payment app number 7 in the amount of $27,254.55 to DJ Heating and Air Conditioning, Inc. for the highway garage and rehabilitation project in the mechanical part.
So moved.
Second.
Mike makes a motion, Johnny seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to authorize the supervisor to execute change order number 4 for National Water Cleaning Company, Carson Wastewater Collection System, Phase 2, CDBG grant, 1215 PR 167-22. Due to modifying the scope of the work and extension of the contract time for the addition of a weather cover with a new pump control panel at Carlo Drive Pump Station. This will increase the contract value by $6,083.39 for a revised contract of $707,078.98. Joe?
Just a quick discussion, this was never, the cover, believe it or not, was not included with the bid. No, sorry, with the scope of the job. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Joe makes the motion, Johnny seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, we'll stop at 17, we'll continue for 18 and then that. We have continuation of the public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive input and comments from the public regarding the short-term rental law. So anybody that's on the Zoom or in the audience, if you have any concerns or questions, this is the time for that part of the meeting that we're looking at. And it's short-term rentals.
We should include in the record that we received written comments from the town of Wawarsing Planning Board a couple of weeks ago. And we just recently received written comments from the Ulster County Planning Board, which have 2 required modifications.
That's, yeah, July 10th, they sent that, right?
Well, I think there are a couple required modifications. Right?
Two of the 2.
Three. The required,
So I think it's worth noting that
Recording it.
required modifications can be overridden. Is that correct, Bill? With the-
Majority.
205.
4x4 votes, yeah.
So you want me to discuss what they are, Bill, or that?
Well, I don't know if you're ready to vote on that. You can discuss what they suggested. But
No, that's what I'm
if you're
saying.
ready to vote on the passing of the revised law.
No, I was mentioning this, that my specific question was what the recommendations of the council were.
I think the one recommendation was they wanted to impose a 2% cap of available housing for short-term rentals. And the other one is they wanted to outlaw short-term rentals in multifamily, or not outlaw, prohibit short-term rentals in multifamily units, right?
As well as, right now, the way that the additional dwelling units is written, in our draft allows additional dwelling units to be, after the law goes into effect, to be used as short-term rental after 10 years. And their recommendation is that, additional dwelling units are permanently banned or prohibited from, as short-term rentals.
Right, so it's 3, right?
Yeah.
3.
Can I ask a question about
conversation,
that?
let's call it go first.
Yeah.
Did they give explanations as to why?
It didn't, come
Sure,
forward,
yeah.
like, ladies?
Yeah, can I get a copy?
Yeah, I can read it to you. So basically it's saying essentially that the intention of additional dwelling units is to develop units on their properties as a means of providing for additional affordable housing.
They do give answers.
Yeah, the board recommends, the Ulster County Planning Board specifically recommends that any newly proposed ADUs after establishment of this law be prohibited from housing for short-term rentals permanently without any time-based caveats. Again, kind of reestablishing that their intention of allowing ADUs was for affordable housing, not for short-term rental.
Well, they talk about caps and they talk about they typically talk about suggestions, and then they also have required modifications, which has been discussed that the town board can overrule that and not take what they're, listing as a required modification. Is that correct, Mr. Kyle?
Yes. And, so tonight, once we close the public hearing, we can either vote on approving it with or without modifications, and then our town board suggested very minor modifications, I recall, they wanted reflective signs
Right.
outside the structure, I think, or something,
Yeah.
and then we can either act on that or not, and make it part of the application.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, do you want to come to?
Yeah, I guess I can, in terms of protocol, in terms of the process, so you're talking about a revised proposed law already, is that written? Because the copy I have was the first one that was out there for us to see, right? Is there a revision based on all of the
We
comments?
modified it about a month.
The copy you have is the latest. These have been, we've received these after.
Yeah.
Right, so the copy I have is the one that's being voted on, there's no date on it, but,
If you hand it to me, I can confirm.
yeah.
When they voted on, that's just the most current copy.
Right, but you're talking about voting tonight after the,
No, just on these.
Just on me.
Yeah, we can override these comments.
oh, just
Yeah,
on the,
just-
okay,
yes,
all right, I
yes.
misunderstood, yeah, okay. Because that's the only one I.
This is
have.
the most
That's-
current.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're just stating in general, required modifications by the county are subject to being accepted and enacted or overridden and.
So if you would
That
have
would
to
be what you
accept their
voted.
comments, we would have to modify our latest version.
Right.
If you're going to reject their required, the three required recommendations. Vote to override it. I think when you send it back to the county, you have to give your reason for doing it. You don't have to. It's not a part of the law. You have to give.
Right.
Reject.
And I don't think we're.
So we can either vote tonight, or you can wait till Mr. Brown comes back.
I think we just acknowledge this and we can both come back and.
Right, yeah, we're not at a point where we're not gonna stretch this out by any stretch of the imagination, but we're gonna be responsible. Address, since this is the first time the town board has seen these as a group,
Right.
we'll have a discussion on that and then act on it.
So when the revised proposed law is written by everyone, by the board, does that then go to the public for one more review before the board votes on the law? How does that process work?
If there's changes, you'll see it before the next public meeting.
Right, and that's where it would be voted on to pass or not, or there would be more room for people to comment on the new version? Okay.
And I would, yeah, and so, Bill, that's a good point to
So
clarify.
if we want to change it, if they're not significant changes, we don't need to, we can continue the public hearing for 2 weeks from now. And then we can discuss and propose changes between now and then. And then vote on it at the next meeting, or we can, vote on it tonight, not change it. If the changes were insignificant, like if we adopted the town's suggested change, which was what reflected numbers of the unit on the outside, I don't think anybody would consider that to be a significant change.
Actually, that would be a good thing.
So we have several options. We can close the public hearing, we can continue it till the first meeting in August. With the thought of maybe passing it then. If we're gonna make substantial changes, then technically it's gonna affect the county and our plan and account and town plan.
Okay.
For their review and comment, it's anybody's guess as to what's substantial, changing a couple words or.
Well, I would say, if we adopted what Ulster County Planning Board is requiring us to modify, that would be substantial. We would
Possibly, and
send that all back through again. But if we chose not to take this language or follow their required modifications and didn't really change it, then that would be material, right?
I would think.
So let's listen to the public and then continue it for 2 weeks.
Can I just ask two things and then I'll be done? I apologize.
No,
for
I
being like the
appreciate
pain
the
in the thorn in the side. So two questions, and I will leave you with my notes. What's the difference between this and boarding houses? I was trying to understand the definitions in the town code. And boarding houses is mentioned, but it's really not defined. It sounds like what we're doing here, according to the definitions that I can find in the code, fits for short-term rentals. So again, I'm going back to that idea of duplicating what we already have, but that's a question I guess you would have to look at, you know, what's the difference between a boarding house and, the short-term rental? I mean, I had one in my head, but.
Yeah.
But the words are what defines it, right? So that's one point. And then the other question I have is in the code as it's written, does it preclude someone renting just a bedroom as a short-term rental? Because my understanding is, a dwelling unit is defined as complete housekeeping facilities for one family. And then a short-term transient rental is a dwelling unit. So in my mind, that precludes someone just renting out a bedroom, which a lot of short-term rentals are just a bedroom, not a kitchen facility renting. So that's one thing that I would ask you to look at. Another thing. And then an interesting thing I discovered, in the hotels, motels, boarding houses, and bed and breakfast chapter 71, there's a petition for relief from license option, which I guess a town board can grant upon petition. So is that something you would consider adding to this law, if this law passes?
What was the first part?
It's under hotels, motels, boarding houses, and bed and breakfast. So that's chapter 71 of the code. And there's a petition for relief from license in that chapter. So, yeah, so there's a license to have a hotel, motel, boarding house, or bed and breakfast. And then the next paragraph says that you can petition for relief from the license. So, you know, I would ask you guys to look at that. And
That would be a better.
well, it's in there. So I don't know what the thinking was, you know, whenever that was done, but one can then say, well, there should be the same option for a short-term rental law, if there's one for.
I think the idea was to license them, so I can't imagine exempting. somebody.
Well, I don't know, but
That was one of the
It's in there, so-
purposes of understanding and having an idea and controlling, and not so much controlling, but understanding and making places safe and whatever, even on a license.
right, but that's, I don't know if it just means that you don't pay for the license, but you still get the required, I don't know, but that would be something to look at. And then the last thing, that I wanted to mention was, the caps, the number of capping the number of entities. I'd like to know if other businesses in the town have that sort of thing, where you would cap a business. I didn't see anything under motels, hotels, boarding houses. So why single out short-term rental laws, for short-term rentals as a business to cap? Right, do we cap gas stations, do we cap restaurants, do we cap anything?
That's a good point,
Right,
and I do
so-
take that into consideration. On the other side, people need a place to live. They don't need a place to go eat. So I do think we need to be a little bit sensitive to people having a house or a home or where they call home.
Right, I mean, I will say that I don't necessarily believe that the two are so correlated, but I see your point, and I see what people are afraid of, but yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And I would just remind you too, the way that it's currently written, you know, that there is no cap at this point, it allows the opportunity to, right?
Yes, but my point would be, once you allow that, then that will happen.
Yeah.
And
So just so you know what we're up against from Ulster County Planning Board is, you know, one of their required modifications is that we cap it at 2%
right,
of the total housing stock. And even further so is that when we're looking at 2%, we further eliminate from the calculation any units like multifamily or new short-term rentals. So they're trying to really limit it to 2% of a very small percentage, right? So know that kind of that's what we're up against
right.
in considering that.
So one of my earlier letters to the board on this, I went through a lot of that data that is printed over and over again in various media about that issue. And I would ask you to look at that, because if you dig back into that data, it really doesn't suggest that we make these kinds of percentage caps on it. So,
I-
yeah, so I leave you with that, and I will leave you with a copy of my
And I do think, one point of clarification on the renting one in your home. I do think, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but, I think that the words we're using is non-owner occupied short-term rental. I think is in what's. there.
There's a difference, right? There's a
Yeah.
short, non-owner occupied and an owner occupied.
Right,
People live there.
right. So I think that might solve your renting one room question. Is that,
Well, no, so you would be owner occupied, but you would rent a room out.
yeah,
So I have
exactly,
my kids are gone and I have 3 empty bedrooms.
right, and so the limitation is for non-owner occupied.
Correct, but does the definition of the units preclude me from renting that bedroom to someone? That's what I'm asking you to confirm, yeah. Because the definitions in my mind said, well, I can't rent a room because the dwelling unit is defined as a all-encompassing thing.
Understood,
Yeah.
well, look, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so do we need a motion to extend the public hearing 2 weeks? All right,
Yes.
so I make a motion,
Yeah, we'll review what together and discuss the comments tonight and what has been, forwarded from the county, and then act on that, and then the public hearing.
August 1st.
August 1st.
Unless there's anyone else in the audience who would like to speak on this. Specific, okay, so I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing of the short-term rental local law to August 1st.
All in favor?
I,
Okay, that's. All right. We're going to number 16, I think? 18, okay. The town board authorized the supervisor to execute the service maintenance contract of Peak Power Systems of Middletown, New York for the renewal of annual system checkup with the town's generators located at Joseph White Residential Airport, Navajo Water Department, Bronson Sewer District, Navajo Sewer District, and a Highway Department.
Hold on, man.
Okay, you have a motion?
We've got the generator down there now, which is gonna be eliminated with the new generator. The new generation must have some kind of service come on. And I wanna know what this here generator is talking about is the old. So that's gonna be eliminated. Table it?
Table,
Once just table it, table it,
table it for Highway Department?
table the whole thing.
Yeah,
It's one contract, right? Yeah. It's one contract.
All right, so is there any other questions about the other entities?
I'm kind of glad we're tabling it just because I believe Cohasset still has some alarm control issues.
We'll take note of that. And we'll go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll find out before Monday on this.
Right.
when you tell me.
Number 19, town board approved the invoice in the amount of $264 for Lisa Weslick, payroll personnel assistant, to be enrolled in SHRM for human resource support.
So moved.
Simon makes a motion, Joe seconds it, all in favor? Aye. Motion's carried. Number 20, town board approved the rental of 2 water slides from Leonardo's party rental for the summer recreation program, cost not to exceed $790.
So moved.
Second.
Ronnie makes a motion, Mike seconds it, all in favor? Aye. Motion's carried. Number 21, town board to approve the reimbursement of the lifeguard management training course and exam in the amount of $270 from Mia Unlinzak, our pool director.
So moved.
Second.
Ronnie makes a motion, Mike seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. 22, town board to approve the promotion of Todd Booth, the working supervisor at the highway department. The salary would be $32.89 per hour for the IBW contract. Increase is effective as of July 25th.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Mike makes a motion, Joe seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board approved the title change of Ama Bingaman Ose Tutu from recreation specialist to recreation aide, effective June 21st. The rate of pay will be $15 effective as of July 18th.
So moved.
Joe Johnny makes a motion, Mike seconds it, all in favor? Aye. Motion's carried. 24, town board to approve the change of the classification of Mary Hamel, clerk from provisional to permanent as of July 18th. This is for her successful completion of the civil service exam. Please, planning board and building department clerical person, which we
So
congratulate her for that. Mike makes the motion, Johnny seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion's carried. 25, town board to authorize the town clerk to advertise for one member to serve an unexpired term on the town planning board. The term will expire on December 31st, 2029. The applications are to be returned to the town clerk's office by noon on Friday, August 9th. I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to advertise.
I'll second.
Joe makes a motion, Mike seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. 26, to award the bid in the amount of $234,000 to Rowers Construction, Inc. for the reconstruction of tennis courts and basketball courts on Borough Road Park.
So moved.
Second.
Johnny makes a motion, Mike seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to approve the New York State DEC to perform the following with access allowance to be canceled at any time. That would be a stock trout in Bearkill, Sandberg, and Rondout Creeks, allow anglers to access streams up to 33 feet. No bank along the streams within parcels noted. Allow the DEC to post signs along the creeks to identify the access points. And, I had a phone call from Robert Adams of the DEC, which is a very interesting and nice, polite conversation about, this motion of providing, the anglers and fishermen of our area and visitors to, use the streams in our area. It was just, well, I just note that because it was a very nice conversation that we had and very, sometimes the DEC is not the easiest agency to deal with, and in this case, this is a total opposite situation, which is a real good situation. So, who's the make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mike makes the motion,
I'll second it.
Joe seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. That's 27. Is there anything that we're doing not on the agenda as far as motions?
No, we don't have any.
All right, so at this point, Mr. Fay, sometimes you say you don't have it. I think you're doing paving now.
Yeah, paving 40 more roads. But I hate to say it, but people want to drive very nice. We're doing that paving, and we had the road blocked off, and the driver goes up to, knocked out, now we roll it. And it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
We had a road block on both sides. They decided to go around the road block and come in.
so where are you in the process of, the seasonal paving? Which ones have we done and which ones are we still gonna do?
So I'm gonna do, five more. Yeah, I'll do that. Cox Road. We got a deal with, Manacade. We put 9 pipes in. They're gonna go from our line to 52, which I'm gonna pave them, and I'll pave it for us. We're doing the gully, 3 pipes in there. I'm doing the gully for one reason. Next year, they're gonna be 52 is gonna roll them up and go. What?
So you're talking about going up on Route 52?
Up on,
So,
probably a mile or so in there.
so just to share with, we had the, DOT in my office last week, we had a meeting with them, like, 3 or 4 of the, DOT folks from New York, and we're gonna start a project in 25 and end it in 26. It's gonna be about a 2-mile stretch, I believe, on Route 52 going up the lookout area. I don't know the exact 2 miles, but it's, it's pretty much a lot of it.
And they're only doing the slopes, they're not doing the rocks.
So what we're doing is retaining that. They're, right, they're gonna shore up the retaining walls?
Yeah, there's gonna be signs up, there might be traffic lights there, gonna be, I think it's in 15 to 18 months.
Right, they're saying that it's not gonna be that much.
Well,
I don't mean, I don't mean the time that it takes to do the job, I mean, the everyday operation.
they're gonna go till fall, when it gets cold weather, they're gonna stop, that's what we told. They're not gonna continue on.
But as far as stopping the traffic and starting the traffic, didn't we say it's gonna be 7 minutes wait or something?
I mean, here's what I'm saying.
I guess that depends on.
Their construction, like how it works, pull up and I'll be waiting.
They're also gonna do some road work though, maybe, I believe, some. Because there's a need up there.
But this seems to going to one lane then, is that why?
They're gonna have one lane sometime, and sometimes they're gonna be closed for a while, because we got those pipes across. The wood and closed.
But they gave us we can share with you, Chris, a whole, we have some printouts that they made up. They showed from like 1922, 1986, and, 2000, whatever. It gave us a little timeline on the history of it and how it's, whatever.
Be good to sort of publicize just sort of what's gonna happen and that it's gonna be one lane and
Yeah,
it's not gonna be any road at all because
Well, it's obviously it's a big thoroughfare, right? So it's gotta, in some ways, it's gonna be done well in advance of putting it out, so.
you're gonna put that traffic down the gully road.
I have a feeling most people probably run the Valley Road,
Yeah, down Cragsville Road and then down the gully road.
especially people in Craigmore, they see a car right there. Yeah. They're not run.
I think they told me that they're gonna go past Chris Riley's house.
About 10% of them will get lost and go up Minot, that.
Excuse me, Terry, did
Yeah.
we do a resolution for that on top of our list? Oh. Page 2.
Yes, we did.
Good.
Which I had flipped off and you can see it. No. Let's have Tony finish this conversation. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I did.
That's pretty much, what we're doing. Hopefully, we're gonna have 4 more done, probably more next week. Hopefully. I wish the people up that would slow down. It's not the local people.
So you're doing anything in Ocean Heights or Greenville Park or?
I can't vote.
Johnson?
I can't vote, 2 miles, I can't vote.
Ooh,
That's, this road here was doing right now, 2.75 miles. So,
what's that cost today in today's dollar amount?
$140,000 per mile.
It used to be 100, correct? Not that long ago.
140. And that's not doing all the pipe work and stuff, that's blacktop.
It's just paving.
And the guy that's done it, he works in hot weather. They've done a good job.
Yeah,
That was good.
I got it started out kind of early, you don't want to go early, which is a good, pretty much an obvious situation, but you did it and that's good.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a resolution before we go to the next council person. Wawarsing Town Board by resolution opposes the establishment of a countywide landfill within the town of Wawarsing.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Play that. Mike made the motion.
Yep.
Joe seconds, it's a roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Gary votes aye.
Thank you.
Bill was on the phone, I think you would say aye. So that's 4 with 1 absent, so the presentation that we had tonight was from Mark Ryder and Tim Wiederman, used to be, Wiederman, the guy that was here off with him. You guys don't know, used to be the economic development director for the county, and then he was with Congressman Lynn, and then now he's back and working locally, so. Actually, he's been operating a while with the county. So. That is done. The next question is. Not fraud.
So a couple of exciting things that we passed today. So the repaving the Ford Road Park, which is the or the basketball courts and tennis courts at Overland Park is really exciting. That's part of the grant that we talked about several times in partnership with the village. So we're really excited about that moving forward. Typically, I would have an update from the Parks and Trails Department or Commission today, but their meeting was moved to next week, so I'll have updates in 2 weeks for everyone there. And that is it for me.
Okay, Joe.
Thanks, Jerry. For the water departments, we're up to 169 audits throughout the year. We replaced 28 faulty transmitters. From our accounting and secretary office, everyone who's listening and out there, if you can please update your mailing address, we get a lot of returned mail. So that'll be very helpful. As far as the Wawarsing Water District, it's still running on its own. The new update would be the antennas. They narrowed it down to the antennas between at the Wawarsing Water District and the tank down by Tony. So they're just getting that to communicate, mainly the well levels. So they were on site yesterday and today with Ella's team and Motion AI. Lastly, for me, thank you for everyone who put the efforts to get the pool filled. Talk about a team effort there. And then we have 2 exciting events, Borchbelt next weekend. I'm excited to have a lobster roll. And then Blueberry Festival about 2 weeks after that. So hopefully everyone come out and support our local events.
Hey, just to kind of touch on what Joe said about thanking whoever was involved in filling the pools. Our volunteers in our community are a very big part of our community. Very important that we have them. They save us a lot of money with fire protection. Also, we had in the past, over this past month, we had a situation with 4th of July. We didn't have enough coverage to shut down roads. The village couldn't afford to keep the police department on, so we asked the volunteers to come out. We got volunteers from Craigsmore, Cohonson, Mackinac, and Ellenville. Guys came out, spent the time, shut the roads down. We put a lot of help into that. And also they heeded the call when it came time to take care of the pool situation. So if you see a volunteer, just thank them because they are very important in our community. Tony was saying about slowing down. I did see the numbers are up with accidents right now with motor vehicle accidents, and a lot of them are due to speed. Just so if anybody didn't see the article on social media, in Sullivan County, the Hasidic community put out a letter to their summer residents that are coming up to ask them to please slow down. The roads are extremely crowded, actually a lot more this year than they've seen in the past. And they're asking everyone to just take it easy, and we're asking the same thing on our end. You know, local people, just a lot more traffic on the road than we've ever had before. This has been an astronomical amount of traffic this year than we've ever seen before. And 52, 209, even the back roads. So we're just asking to please be careful out there. It is very busy. Tony, thank you to you guys, what they're doing out there on the roads, everything you guys do. As far as the building department goes, permits were pretty steady. 29 new permits came in, 54 inspections, and 29 COs. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mike. Budget is typically started in August, so we work on that, and the union contract, I believe it's wastewater this year is the 3-year contract that's up. It's kind of alternating highway when, you know, on a 3-year basis, and then water and sewer. So we'll be talking about that in the next, starting out in August. Ulster County government shared with me and Mr. Brown, there has been some conversations that we've had and benefited from with the Ulster County government. Dr. Barnes is our legislator that's sitting here tonight, and he assisted with the pool filling, and Mr. Lopez is an active person, an advocate, or somebody that's, as well as John, has looked into this landfill situation, and they're working across the table no matter what party they're in. And as Mr. Ryder mentioned earlier tonight, there was approximately 9 people that were favoring or supported the opposition to having landfill in the town of Wawarsing. That non-legislators from other towns and 20 towns of Ulster County, so that's good to know, and, but there's more work to be done. We did make this, we made the resolution, which anybody can have, you can look at it and have a copy of it, but I have some comments, and if I'm boring you, just tell me like this, I'm boring you, okay, so. The town board of Wawarsing approved the resolution tonight in opposition to the placement of a county or regional landfill at Brown Road and or Milk Road. Proposed property sites in the town of Wawarsing. The town board understands that waste management is a problem for a number of reasons. The present situation in Ulster County Resource Recovery is that sending waste to Seneca Meadows in upstate New York at $10 to $11 million a year is costly, as well as the gas emissions that result in doing so. Ulster, I'll call it Ulster, visited this topic approximately 3 years ago, which included the town of Wawarsing property sites, along with other Ulster County property sites. At that time, it was noted that Seneca Meadows would be closing after 5 years or more. To my understanding, the topic was put aside and now being reintroduced with the Cornerstone Report. The Cornerstone Report states that this could be a 10-year process, and that Seneca Meadows may be closing within 5 years again. The town board has a lot of concerns and lacks information to access and make a decision that will affect our township both financially and environmentally. The Cornerstone Report states a host benefit package will be part of the agreement. To date, the language does not define a revenue amount that the town of Wawarsing can in any way assess whether it may benefit the town or result in an added cost to the town of Wawarsing. Our assessor brought up a question that has been an issue in Sullivan County that requires a solid waste fee for some homeowners, businesses, not for some, but for homeowners, businesses, and if so, how long would that, would that last? In Sullivan County, it lasted about 8 or 10 years. The Brown Road site is a town road that must be maintained by the taxpayers' dollars, that is narrow with turns and therefore a safety concern. The truck traffic will be exponentially impacting the roads and safety of all the residents as well as those visiting this part of the town for its natural beauty, visiting the bald eagle nest, the fishing, hunting, biking, and running, and etc. The Brown Road site feeds out to the Roundout Reservoir approximately a quarter mile to the reservoir from the base of Brown Road. Provides New York City with water. Therefore, that brings concerns to viewers regarding, the truck accidents, if they had truck accident spills, which could directly affect the reservoir and processing of the water to New York City residents. Aquifer contamination for properties affected by the landfill, those that are living there. The town has been advised that liners, and we discussed in the workshop tonight, liners are included in such landfills to alleviate such contamination. But residents living near this site will not be guaranteed that such contamination will not affect their homes and their personal health. The Milk Road site is directly off State Route 52, which will result in truck traffic down Route 209 coming to Dallenville from all of Ulster County townships, possibly in villages, because the town of Wawarsing is at the southern end of Ulster County. As this would impact all of these communities, it definitely would create a logjam and add to the already present logjams that we have in the village of Ellenville. Ever since, I grew up there, and there's always a traffic jam in the village. The Milk Road site is directly up Route 52, which would result in a truck traffic travel down 209 from all of the Ulster County townships, and because the town of Wawarsing is the southern border, as this would impact all the communities, definitely create a lot. I just read that, okay? Once leaving Ellenville, this truck traffic would travel up Route 52 to County Road Milk Road, which is County 653, which already is the access way for heavy traffic leading to Sullivan County and beyond. Route 52 is a speedway up there, and people are driving, like Mike was talking about, accidents and bad driving habits. Or it's being addressed. I mean, we've had at one time that particular state trooper that retired, and he was noted for having maybe the most tickets in the state, and that's one of the reasons, because he was on 52.
It's the Hastings.
Yeah, Mr. Hastings, and
Right.
I was going Budson for doing what he was doing. So, but once leaving Ellenville, this truck would travel up 52 North Road. And there was an accident yesterday at Martinfell Road, so. Town of Wawarsing is experiencing an influx of folks moving here, especially since the COVID pandemic. So the home development is very active. Some of these folks are retiring here to enjoy the beautiful nature of the Gulf and Valley, leading to the Catskills. Others are here to start a family or start a business in our township, and in doing so are purchasing properties and building their dream home. Many of these are right in these two proposed sites. The town of Wawarsing has a rich history business with Channel Masters, Schrade Cutlery, Hydro Aluminum, Aero Transport, major Borscht Belt hotels that allow all levels of economic opportunities. At the present time, the town of Wawarsing is in a good position with a record of very low annual tax levies, and at the same time have been fortunate to have the New York City DEP create a very expensive new Wawarsing Hamlet Water District. And the Carranza water lines were replaced in the last 5 or 6 years at a large number, it was an $8 million project, but about 6 of it was grants. New highway garage that was replaced after 52 years. New York State Department of Corrections did a $10 million Mackinac Sewer District improvement, to mention a few infrastructure projects. But the village of Ellenville and the town of Wawarsing have actively engaged in working together on the Burn Road Park, as Johnny mentioned. And most recently, we're preparing the school pool for the summer recreation program and the general public usage. Open Space Institute is making great inroads in purchasing and working on the O&W rail trail that will benefit our region. I've been on the board a long time, and as O&W was in charge as a councilman of Whitman Park, and try to work on the initial grant that the town got for the O&W, and in recent years, it's exponentially increased in progress for that project. Somerset Partners, I was talking to Mr. Rubenstein today about, his purchase of an Evelyn, to see where he is with that project. So that's a very big situation that could be a change. It could just change so much in our township and village. Cresco has purchased the Schrade and Hydro properties. And if the state gets their act together on the licensing and that situation with the cannabis production, that will bring that here. But having a landfill, I probably feel that it's moving the wrong direction, and it's not a nail in the coffin, but it's definitely not, you talk about perception. Perception is one thing which creates negativity in this case, but at the same time, there's so many things that we don't even know about. And they come here and they had a workshop today, just for an informational workshop, and there'll be more opportunities for that stuff, but there are just so many things we're not going to be either privy to or part of, or, as I mentioned before, Mr. Tyer was here for the last time that this was brought up, and that was 3 years ago. So the project was stopped, and now it's starting again. And I don't believe it's a good thing. I was quoted in the Kingston Freeman, not the short one, I'm sure, but what I said was, we don't get a lot of things over the years, and now we're gonna get around them. That's not something that's really good. But at the same time, that's the Ulster County Resource Recovery. I don't want to make this a county situation, because the county has really worked with the town of Wawarsing in a big way. They helped with a pool grant recently, that the governor brought out a $155 million pool grant opportunity for the entire state, which doesn't come down to a lot of money, but the parameters are 50,000 to 10 million. And the county actually wrote they took the cost and, manpower or employee power to, help write the grant with the help, Mr. Guyer, myself, and a number of people that work for the town. So what the project is we repair the elbow school pool. For years, every single year, the village, town, and school had always worked together. The village still works together, but they are not really, they don't have anything from their budget coming from the town budget, but we do get employee, assistance from the village, but, whether it's the street department and or the water department. So what they're looking to do is to remove the pool house, which is probably from about 1947. And the pool, the basin of the pool was worked on about 6 years ago. That is still a solid base. They reinforced it and whatever. The surface of the walking area has to be repaired, and they're looking at a all-purpose building outside the pool space that would have different all-purpose categories of either concessions or bathrooms or whatever. And there's a preliminary, the grant was actually, like I said, in the beginning of the year, the governor proposed this, and then all of a sudden, probably a month ago, they said, we're going to start opening the applications next week, and we had to have them done by July 12th. So I thank the county, John was part of that also, and the county legislature was, to help write the grant and provide an opportunity for fixing the pool. Over the years, again, there's been people that have said, why don't we have a community center and a full-time 12-month-a-year pool, maybe on the Kibble side by the Burma Park, and would complement the Burma Park. But I think some of the, you have to work within your means. And I personally didn't think we had the means to pull that off, because there's, can't even come up with it. The dollar amount for this project could be $2 to $4 million. So the grant opportunity is a 20% in by the municipality and 80% by the state. So it's something that is reasonably, it's affordable. And it's affordable because we've tried, the town has been working together with the employees. The employees have done a good job, and the town board has done a good job over the years to keep our tax levy at a very low rate, about 1% over the last 6 years. But again, there's been, like I mentioned, these projects, a lot of those projects have had a tremendous amount of grant money. Perhaps in sidewalk, perhaps in water lines, was 6 million out of 8 was grants. The Wawarsing water district was like 24 million. That wasn't our fault, but that $10 million from Department of Corrections for the sewer upgrade. Those are all things that the town taxpayers didn't pay for. You might have paid it for someplace in your pocket through state taxes, but it wasn't directly from this budget. So what I'm sharing is the fact that the village and the town are in a very good spot right now as far as working together and with the county. There's going to be some things that you disagree with, but if not you, but people in general, that but I think we're really in a good spot right now where we're getting some things done, and we're going to continue that. So that is my talk on the landfill. It's just something that I don't believe was well thought. It's not well thought out. I'm concerned. I don't know if John wants to have any comments on that in any fashion, or if
There's public speak also.
the public has any, come up and have a conversation. Oh, Lee, you want to come up?
Yeah, I have a question. Those two proposed locations, did the county say how much capacity they believe those locations will have? How many years of service?
Yeah, I think you said 30 years. 30 years.
30 years.
30.
That was my question. Thank you.
There we got one more.
Right.
Sorry,
one of the residents, myself being one of them on Martinsville Road, a few
Can you
of us.
come up, please? I can't hear you.
Sorry, we've had a few discussions, we live on Martinsville Road, and basically, one of the, neighbors, we put a whole summary together,
Yeah.
and I'd like to submit.
Sure.
Because I won't do it any justice today in,
So,
preparing.
were you around that accident yesterday or no?
No, I missed that, so I would like to just, submit this, it's really
Take a look at it.
informative, and you did a great job on it, so I'm not taking any credit, by any means. Yeah, he did a great job.
And this is a resident.
He's one of my neighbors, so his name's on the top. And I don't know if he wants to be anonymous, but we're sharing that here with the board,
Thank you.
okay?
Yes, that's gonna be very helpful, and I've seen some, documentation like this, but
He did a great job.
since you mentioned that, we do have, I don't know, I need the advice, Bill, as far as the petition conversations. Okay.
They're submitted to the town and public information.
Oh, I'm not for this particular, and I thank you very much.
No, should I do it a different way? I'm
No,
sorry.
no, I'm talking about, I appreciate what you're doing, but
Okay.
we also have a petition signed by people that, live in off the Brown Road.
Yes, once they're submitted to the town, they're part of the town record, we're free to pass them on to the county legislature, to the local county.
So that's what we have.
Okay, so we should do a petition as well
Yeah, we
for
can,
Martinville?
yeah, then we can provide that.
Okay.
Or we can collaborate for whatever, in whatever fashion that you want to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, Paul.
Thank you. All right, this is Jackie, and I'm going to copy it from me, Mom.
Could you send this around to us? I'd be really interested in this.
We. Yeah, we need.
So, yes, so there's two sites as was discussed. Milk Road and Brown Road, and then, as we heard Mr. Ryder discuss a few different times during his presentation, he did mention that he didn't think Brown Road was going to be a situation that would be a fine, he wasn't, you guys agreed that he didn't think that was going to work.
He spent most of his presentation talking about Mill Creek.
No, yeah.
So I'm very concerned about Milk Road, and thank you for bringing what you're over here, what you brought to the town board for us, and traffic is a big deal. It's on a county road, it's on a state road, so it doesn't impact the town road budget directly, but there still could be traffic on town roads, and we don't need any large trucks, but how many ton, 40-ton trucks, 39-ton trucks?
39
That's a
tons.
Big truck, especially be driving on a town road.
15 a day.
And that's what they say now. It could be, I also had a conversation with Mr. Ryder, the milk site could be a regional one, involved with Sullivan County. In the past 3 years, they talked about Sullivan, Orange, and Ulster County being together on this. So there's so many things that we don't know about that. I'm not saying they're not, hiding anything, but it's like a project in motion for them, and I am really not ready to sit here and say, oh, yeah, okay. I'm in favor of that, because I'm not in favor of it, and I don't think anybody here is. That's why we made this resolution, and one of the reasons, there's a lot of different reasons. It's because there's a lack of information on how it all plays out, and how it's gonna impact anyone. And if they have a limit of, say, 50 people, oh, then it's easier to not do it, or whatever, and he mentioned 20 to 25 residents. But I asked them, what about those 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people of building $700,000 houses with 80 acres of land because they can and they want to, or a small house, or a small bungalow colony, or a small camp, or a business like Yogi Bear?
Absolutely.
It puts those businesses in a bad light, and also it can hurt their business. And you brought up the economic aspect.
Property value.
Yeah, and property values is very, very important.
What do we tell people who just bought a house?
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
Brought up, yeah, and
Or people
literally,
who want to sell their house?
I was in with the assessor today and hearing some of the properties on Milk Road, and some of them have been bought just in the last year or two, and they're major pieces of property.
There's also a petition going around for the opposition of it.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah, we have-
Rewind.
We have one for, we had one for Brown Road, but we're also. There's one for, that was just in opposition. So, this isn't something that's gonna be dealt with in a week, but I wanted to be, you know, ready tonight, and I wanted the town board to be ready to have, you know, why stretch this out if you're not going to, if you're gonna entertain it, entertain it. But if you're against it, have a reason why you're against it and say that. And that includes what we said tonight, what I just read, and what we discussed in that workshop. And, you guys have any other comments on that?
Yes, sir.
Is there a list of parcels that will be affected on both those sites?
I don't think we know the parcel yet.
No.
We don't even know the parcel.
It's in the.
It's in the report.
It's in the report.
Yes.
Yeah, I have maps right here that. Which is pretty much the Wolf Road situation. We have it around.
So I would imagine there'd be multiple parcels that would be affected for the placement of the landfill. So those properties would be eminent domain or?
Can't do that elsewhere.
No, that was one of the conversations that Mr. Kaya brought up, that was discussed was, you know, can they take that by eminent domain? And as of 3 or 4 years ago, I guess that was something that was eliminated from the, you know,
They can't permit a landfill if the parcel was obtained through eminent domain.
so what they're gonna do is they're gonna reach out to the, you know, the area landowners, and again, I haven't talked to them, to the ones that I pulled out today, you know, some of them are big properties and some of them are very, you know, houses in progress of being built or built and some camps that are there, and I talked to some of the people that
So it's realistic that that project can stall if you have holdouts that are not willing to apply those facilities.
well, I don't want to quote the gentleman that talked, but he said the process could take like 10 years to happen, but.
If the landowners refuse to sell it, project,
Yeah.
Correct.
they can't eminent domain, so, yes.
I believe there is I think there's a property here that's 48.9 acres that's owned by Ulster County. Probably, I don't know, if it's because of, you know, non-payment of taxes or whatever, but I just saw that today. Now, I don't know if that's one of the areas that we have a question to look at that, but I would think it is. And they said that, now, the Cornerstone report talks about multiple parcels on Brown Road, and they're saying it's a total like 596 acres. That doesn't mean they're gonna use that much. And then Milk Road, they're talking about 247 acres. That's specific numbers from this Cornerstone report. But then again, when we asked them, they said it was a minimum of 100 acres,
Usable,
100 acres.
usable.
Usable, yes.
There
Correct.
are 200 acres and only 100 is can use.
Yeah, correct. There's 247.
Yes.
I just have a quick question. Did they mention in your workshop that it's also, it's the Sullivan County line? So I think in the report there, it mentions, the Woodridge Water District. The Woodridge Water District is on that road.
Yes.
That's in that report. So did they mention that as well?
They did.
No, but the gentleman did talk to me off, you know, not with the board, he had phone calls with him when I was on vacation. He actually said that he was on vacation, but he's the guy that called me. Like, what is that all about? He says, I was on vacation, and I said, no, I was on vacation.
He meant it was important that while he was on vacation.
Well, the topic was that he said, you know, we could combine with Sullivan County, so that would make it a larger project.
Yeah.
John, come on up. Well, again, I'll mention that John and I and Greg Lopez, another county legislator that actually represents that area up there. John represents a different area, but he represents Wawarsing. So
Yeah, so I'll work in reverse order from what I was gonna do since we didn't do public comment at the beginning. The landfill, just want to be clear, so the public understands and the board is aware. There's a they're not the same thing. Ulster County government and Ulster
No,
County Resource Recovery, they are not the same. They are not connected. There is some connection contractually. But this is not Ulster County, the government doing this project or even.
So let me stop you for a second. During my long speech, which was, you know, I put it up together pretty quick, but.
We raised our hands, you didn't stop. I just want to point that out. Yeah, everybody raised their hands, you didn't stop. I just want to point that out.
Oh, really? You know, I wasn't.
You didn't even
I
see
was
those.
I was reading from the, I couldn't.
You were on a roll.
I couldn't ad lib, but my point is, I made a very strong comment, and if it wasn't strong enough, I'll make it strong enough now instead. It's Ulster County Resource Recovery. This isn't the county government pushing this and driving this. That's your point, right? And I
Yeah,
totally-
I know it has the name Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency. I've been trying for years to find out how that even happened and to get them to stop doing it because I feel, besides this, for the last 4+ years now, I fielded calls about issues that they've had with the Resource Recovery Agency, thinking that it's Ulster County's, you know, we have a role in it, and they unfortunately have to forward them on to the Resource Recovery Agency, which has its own board and all that. So I would thank the board for this resolution. I didn't even notice that it was cut off on the other thing. I was looking at the end of the agenda for it to be on there. Yeah, I think, you know, the question that Councilman Frost asked about how can we stop this? I think the answer was sort of clear at the end is get the owners not to sell. I think, you know, besides this resolution, which if I could get a certified copy as soon as you have it, it'll help me to fight from the county side of this. But I would encourage this board and supervisor to reach out to the property owners like tomorrow and start to say, hey, we can stop this if you're not, you know, willing to sell. I do need to know that that was an option, and the fact that it was stated tonight is pretty encouraging. So
And I did notice that one of these is a county property at 49 acres.
yeah, I don't think it is anymore. I think that that's,
Well, maybe-
I think it was sold at the tax auction.
Okay, so that's the records I got from the assessor today, so, but.
Yeah, it won't take
Maybe the
effect.
question has to be updated or.
The auction doesn't clear until, I think, August. Bill knows, but I think it's
Yeah,
August.
September.
So
Yeah.
we should try to find out who, if anybody's bought it. And
Yeah.
who it is.
Yeah.
And I do think that there are some other things that we can be doing as well. You know, so I think there are other tactics that we can take that we should probably discuss and iron out. You know, like the American Planning Association, as an example, has, they happen to be speaking with the president of the East Coast chapter, who said that they've made a resolution that they're recommending all municipalities identify 10% of their municipality to be included in an open spaces plan. And my understanding of the open spaces plan is that it would prevent landfills from being on certain parcels. And those parcels can be privately or publicly owned. And you can include them in a plan for beautification, wildlife preservation and things like that. So I think that there are other ways that we can.
Yeah, that could be amendment to our zoning law.
Right.
Or,
I mean, we need to research it, but I'm just saying, I think that there are, you know, besides talking to property owners, looking at other ways to get those parcels included in environmental plans and intentions that will prevent it, I think is important, as well as looking at, you know, different ways to disrupt the secret process.
Yeah, I think my hope is that it doesn't even get that far. I would hate for the Resource Recovery Agency itself, because, I mean, quite honestly, we need a place to put our solid waste. It has to go somewhere at some point. So instead of them wasting time going through a process of vetting this any further, let's, you know, have Mr. Ryder and his team stop doing that, look for somewhere else out of county and devote their resources that way. And with this, and I've been in regular contact with the supervisor over the last few weeks, ever since this was made aware to me that this was going on. Him and I have been in contact over this and some other things, and yeah, I think there's a good approach. I have an approach from the county side that we're working on, and this will help now that the board has formally now officially said their position on this landfill, so that helps to.
you have to back it up with more
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, I think there's more to come forward, so. The other, as I think was mentioned before, the pool grant, thank you to the board for your expediting of resolutions and getting the paperwork together and all the information. It helped the county grants department to be able to submit that. They did submit it on the 12th on time. We submitted that morning, and a strong application. I think looking at the scoring criteria, and maybe you have a chance to actually read it. It's quite long, but the scoring criteria, this area does score quite high.
The demographics favor the town.
Yeah, and just the need and the pool's age, 1945, but, Terry had his 12th birthday there,
I think it was 15.
Could have been. So, yeah, thank you for explaining all that, because it was a very short window there. It was, we only learned about it on June 6th, June 13th, and then it was due July 12th, so it was a very short timeframe.
Yes.
And then just switching hats for a second, the 4th of July committee, I know Councilman Shetta mentioned it, the volunteers that helped. But a special thank you to Councilman Shetta, because without him organizing that and taking that on, it wouldn't have happened. Our
You
committee,
respectfully accept that.
yeah, no, thank you, because our 4th of July committee has really suffered with lack of volunteers, as all organizations are. And the day of the parade, even 2 of our members were sick and were unable to help that day. So we're struggling, but thank you, and thank you to the board.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. All righty, so I think it was
I can make a motion to adjourn. We need to go into executive session, not to reconvene.
I'll second it.
I like that. All in favor?
Aye.
4,
Let you know.
thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight, folks.
Thank you, folks, everybody.
Good night.
It's glad to actually see people in the audience. Thank you. Yeah, because usually it's crickets.
Which
but it's
one?
good. I'm glad.
She's like both of them.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I can't